Ladies and gentlemen, it's week 3, episode 3 of Five Dumb Things, something that I apparently don't know how to introduce, but I'm your host. I am Darren J. Gendron, and with me, as always, is Brandon J. Carr.
Hi, everybody.
I don't have a witty joke for you. I was debating saying professional Brian Gelman impersonator, but that makes no sense because you still do not show your face on the video. But if anybody ever looks that up, or if they have seen Mr. Gelman on TV, there's a very bizarre resemblance between the two of you. Have you ever had this pointed out to you before?
I have no idea what you're talking about. Brian Gelman?
Yes, he's an actor. He's a comedian. He was on this week's one of the episodes of last week's At Midnight, and that just made me remind myself. Oh yeah, it's fake Brandon.
I know a Brett Gelman. Are you talking about Brett Gelman?
Well, if you want to get his name right, sure.
I'm here like one.
As somebody who always gets people's names right 100% of the time is our special judge, ladies and gentlemen, Joe Dunn. Say hi, Joe.
Hi, how's it going? I think that Brandon doesn't look like Brett Gelman. I think he's got better hair, but not as good a beard.
I think that's fair. That's a fair assessment.
So we all know who I'm talking about, though, right? There is definitely... I think you know what it is. What it is I first saw Gelman a lot on that show, that TV thing.
The one with Matthew Perry?
Go on.
Yes,
Go on with Matthew Perry. And I could very much have seen Brandon in his role. Like, I feel like that would have worked very easily.
The bizarre Mr.
Case,
that could have been me. No, I think you're about right.
What's that?
Yeah, you're talking about the guy who played like the barely functional spaz on that show. Like,
yeah, I think Brandon would be an excellent barely functional spaz.
Sure.
Not because he's that way.
I am just barely above barely functioning. So I got a little up on him there.
Okay, Joe, you are the artist and writer for Joe Loves Crappy Movies, right?
That's right, yeah.
Okay. And you do. We actually. This is not the first time you've been mentioned on the show. We actually brought up your the Mad Max feelings chart that you did. Absolutely loved that. And you do. What else do you do?
Well, thank you guys for bringing it up last week. That was really fun. It was really cool to see it and to hear other people talking about it. Because you put it out there online and people respond, but no one speaks about it. No one uploads audio about the artwork you do. So that was a lot of fun. Yeah, that's what I'm doing now, basically, just comics. So, yeah.
The comics, all right. Well, you are sort of one of those internet authorities on movies. Movies is one of the dumb things that we like to talk about here on Five Dumb Things. So we're going to start it off with our movies. I've got 5 minutes on the clock. Brandon, how you feeling? You want to do your case first, or is it me?
I'll go first, because I don't need my whole 5 minutes.
Oh, he's going to give the time back to the bench. The clock is running, sir.
All right. So today, whenever you're listening to this, friends, I'm going to talk about.
Too, right?
And enemies. It's evening. It's always evening. I'm going to talk about Pixar's Inside Out, which, from what I hear, is very good, very moving, very poignant film. Now I say, from what I hear, because I have only seen part of it, because it was almost, in its execution, was almost too good for me, to the point where I felt very anxious and overwhelmed. And there's a point at which, I don't want to spoil it for people who are probably not going to watch it based on what I'm saying, but
it's at least a year old at this point.
That's true.
It's on DVD. Like I say, you're spoiler free on this, or not? You're free to spoil.
Fair enough. All right. Well, when it gets to the point where the first island falls, the goofball island, after a just cascade of getting more and more anxious and upset by this movie, I walked away.
Huh.
It hit me that hard as a parent, I guess, and also just as a, I guess, incredibly emotional guy,
Mhm.
because that whole subject of memory and core memory and loss and growing up and all that, it's very it's intense, especially for parents. And I heard about people who watched it and they cried and through various points,
Yeah,
but I
that's
couldn't
not
do it.
even the hard part, man. It gets
I know
worse.
that's what I've heard, and that's part of why I got anxious, because I knew how much worse it was going to get, and I was already broken within the
Mhm.
first 20 minutes.
It was hitting you that hard that early. You didn't feel the need to take bigger, harder punches.
Exactly, because I knew that it looked great. I knew that the execution was going to be phenomenal because it's Pixar, and I knew that it was not an emotional torture I wanted to put myself through.
Uh,
Which actually, I mean, that's a compliment in a
mhm.
way, because they achieved their goals, but they did not, for me, do it in a way that was also lighthearted enough to continue on. It kept building up in me, and I think part of it did leave me wishing for simpler days, especially
Mhm.
for Pixar, because Toy Story had an emotional component to it, but it wasn't like that, you
Yeah,
know?
then the song ends and you move on to the next scene.
Right, exactly. That's exactly right. And so you're like, okay, I'm still having fun or whatever. It's not, immediately as the movies have gone on, it's gotten more and more like the opening scene in Finding Nemo, the opening scene
Mhm.
in Up, which is, to this day, no matter how many times I see it, is, very emotional. But with this one, I knew the power that they had to affect me emotionally, and with what they did in the lead-in, I let it go. I was
And you have
done.
no plans to revisit it ever?
No, I don't. I don't think I could. It really, like, it was an anxiety in me. I mean, I was sitting there uncomfortable. My body language, I was all kind of
What if
pulled
I were
together.
to explain to you what happened with puppets? And we
That
talked about, I mean, with
With puppets.
we ever go to Wikipedia and read the spoilers?
Well,
For good?
I know what happens. Like
Uh,
I know the rest of the story now.
Okay.
what if, to get you to watch this, we got Randy Newman to sit right next to you the entire time and to just have
Just
him freeform
cheer.
scat and make stuff, make happy but sad songs for you.
Oh
Would
no, them memories falling down.
that? I'm a goofball, but not anymore.
No, I don't think that would help.
No,
I don't. I mean, Randy Newman, I'm sure he's a fine fellow.
he's available for that. Like
We'd both be
you
okay
can
with that.
rent him out. Like he's like a party clown at this point in his life. You can do that. I think.
That's
I'll
disturbing.
assume. Yeah, he's Randy Newman. That alone is disturbing. Joe, I want to check with you on this one. For you, is the tough punch for you on that one? Is it Bing Bong?
I mean, Big Bang is the really big hit in that movie.
Yeah. Okay.
But yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Okay. All right. All right. All right. Yeah.
And I knew about the Bing Bong thing before going into it, so that's
Yeah.
part of the reason that I knew it was going to get harder.
Did you see they also did the there's a cut of Inside Out where it's just out.
I
It's
heard about that.
none
Oh,
of
I
the
heard about
inside.
that.
It's a dark, terrible movie at that point, in my opinion. It's like, hey, it's the story of this girl that's just like going through some stuff, and hey, she's gonna run away or not.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Very truncated.
yeah. It hit me too raw. My son is 12,
Mhm.
and so which is a year older than Riley, and yeah. So the dumb thing in this case, was me and my dumb emotions.
Now, let's see. For me, wow, let's completely change gears right now. For
Right.
what my option of dumb thing is this is one of those cases where I find something dumb and I love it, just 100%, and just absolutely enthralled with it. It is Deadpool movie. Like I think we've even talked about this before, but it's how they've been marketing it in the past 3-4 days. The thing that got me was I was looking. They came out with a new billboard for it. That it's a shot of Ryan Reynolds and Morena Baccarin, and it's Wade Wilson before he's fully gone through the Deadpool treatment, so he looks like he's Ryan Reynolds. They're smiling, they're snuggling with each other, and it has the tagline of "True Love Never Dies," Valentine's Day. It's all in warm colors. They really downplay the Marvel logos on it. Sure, it's still called Deadpool in big block letters, but it's a nice little Ryan Reynolds rom-com coming out for Valentine's Day. It's the most like that. The marketing for Deadpool alone. This is a movie that exists because of its marketing, even though they claim that it wasn't marketed. The reason they greenlit this project that had been on the shelf for ages is because the test footage of Ryan Reynolds as Deadpool leaked, and it's how we expected Ryan Reynolds as Deadpool to be before we saw Wolverine Origins, and that ruined it for us. So it was great seeing that and realizing, oh hey, we want that for our face. Please give us that. And now, and they leaked it, and no one has ever fessed up to leaking it. But it's obviously the people that were trying to make the movie, and they were trying to get the internet hubaloo going, and it worked. And they greenlit it, and they made it, and now they've been coming out with all these different cameo moments of Reynolds. I get the feeling that we haven't seen too many of the jokes. I think we keep seeing alternate takes. I'm not going to be surprised at all if we sit down, watch the movie, and all the jokes in the movie are completely different than what we see on the screen. Marvel in general has been doing that lately with their movies. For example, is in Avengers: Age of Ultron. There's the scene where Tony is trying to lift the hammer. In the previews, it was always the I promise I'll be a fair and just leader. But in the movie, he's actually talking about bringing back Prima Nocturne.
Right.
Which, a little creepy there, Tony. Okay, I'm sure you love Pepper, but you got to bang as many Asgardian ladies as you can there.
I think that's a really dangerous game to play because people get attached to these jokes, the jokes that they sell the movie on.
Yeah.
People go in sort of expecting that they're in a way in on it, and then you kind of spin them around, and they're so taken aback that they can't enjoy the joke sometimes. I mean, that's maybe a little dramatic. So most people are just like, okay, whatever. But
no, I think that's a great example. I don't like the Prima Nocturne joke nearly as much as the Justin Fair. I liked it lighthearted the way it is. But that in previews, I think we're seeing for Deadpool. I think I've seen the same scene with different jokes in it already.
Yeah.
So unless they're just doing take after take after take, and it's just 5 jokes in a row, that is. But that's not the dumbest thing about the marketing. I think it reached peak dumb today. They came out with a new billboard, and I want to marry this billboard. It is so dumb. It is
the emoji one.
The emoji one. It is the skull emoji, the pile of poop emoji, and the letter L. Deadpool. And the day, it is just so at this point, it's if you're gonna see it first week, you're in on the joke, you're excited for it now. Let's just be as dumb as possible, and hopefully it has good word of mouth for week 2. I feel like that's what they're shooting for right now.
I saw a tweet. Somebody Pat Nozzle tweeted that billboard. Look, a picture of that.
Yeah.
And I saw it and I was like, oh, this is gonna get retweets and likes just because people figure it out and they're so happy they put it together. They're like, oh. And then I immediately hit retweet and like.
Right.
So you immediately went for that.
Yeah.
Okay.
I was like, what is this? Oh, retweet like.
Okay, so the Honorable Judge Joe Dunn, you have to decide. Brandon, if you had to boil down what you feel is dumb, are you just saying that Inside Out is dumb?
No, I'm saying that my unbalanced human emotions are dumb.
Pixar's ability to manipulate you is dumb?
Sure.
Okay, that also works. All right. So, Brandon having feelings is dumb, or is Deadpool's marketing dumb?
Well, no, see, if it was just Brandon versus Deadpool, I'd go that Brandon is dumb. But I can't. As someone that embraces crappy movies and takes a ton of shit for it, I can't fault somebody for how they react to a movie. Or there's no bad reaction to a movie. There's no proper way to react to a movie. Part of me aches that you won't see this movie like to its completion because it really is special. But I understand, and I can't call that dumb. And I can call Deadpool dumb in the good way. So Deadpool's the dumb thing.
I think we gave you kind of an easy softball there, but
thank you.
But at the same time, I cannot tell you how emotionally invested I am right now in wanting Deadpool to be a good movie. Are you guys on board with me on that? Like, I need this to be a good movie.
It could be bad, though.
It could be bad. It could be so bad, and I really don't want it to be.
We need to prepare ourselves.
If it's bad and it doesn't do well, Ryan Reynolds is barred from comic book movies forever.
Oh, yeah, he's out. Yeah.
This is the last chance for Ryan Reynolds.
It's technically he's already at 3 strikes, if we're being brutally honest. He has done 3 comic book movies, and all 3 of them, yeah.
None of them his fault, though.
Yeah. Are any of you guys repressing any of those movies? Because, I mean, we're looking at Wolverine Origins, we're looking at Green Lantern, and we sometimes forget he was definitely as part of Blade Trinity.
Actually, I liked him and his part of Blade Trinity.
I like it finding out later why his role in that is so bizarre. None of his takes are done with Wesley Snipes on set.
Yeah.
Like they digitally added or body doubled Wesley the entire time he's on set. So he's just making fun of the guy. He's making fun of Blade for not listening to him because he's literally not listening to him. It's, but no, yeah, Deadpool. I need this one to be good. For example, I want Hail Caesar to be good.
Yes.
I really want that one to not be bad. Like, I'm having hope.
Bad too. I love the Coen brothers, but it could be bad.
It could be Coen bad. Let's be honest. There's definitely like a standard. There's a standard of Coen. Like Burn After Reading just didn't hit as. That's exactly like it's between Burn After Reading and Oh Brother. That's like the scale for me. That Hail Caesar is definitely somewhere on that spectrum, and I really hope that it's one of their great ones there. Really do. Television.
Actually, before we move on to television, I'd like to propose a moratorium on Deadpool until the movie comes out.
I promise I'll shut up about it.
We have now done 3 episodes. Or no, I'm sorry, we've done 2 and I don't know, half episodes of the show so far, a quarter, and you've brought them up twice as topics.
I think you need to do them every odd episode.
It might actually turn out that way. Next week we will not talk about Deadpool. I 100% swear this.
That is true. That is a guarantee. So I'll just have to live with that, I guess.
Okay. All right. I'll try to shut up about that. Yes. I'll do my best. We'll see. You probably are going to get me talking about Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes again then. Like, this damn freemium game, man. It just won't go away.
Honestly, this show, you guys have to find 5 new things every week, but in our lives, we usually have 5 things a month if we're lucky. Like, I've been playing the same games on my phone for, I've been playing Simpsons Tapped Out for years,
Yeah. That's kind of where I was at, like with the gaming today. I'm definitely cheating on gaming because I haven't played any new games this past week. But yeah, okay. So let's do television. Yes. Got that. Want me to go first on this one?
Sure.
Breaking news out of Hollywood, ladies and gentlemen. Breaking news out of Hollywood. Marvel and ABC have greenlit the pilot for Marvel's Most Wanted, starring Adrian Palicki as Bobby Morse and Nick Blood as Lance Hunter. That is the dumbest thing. It bothers me. Now, okay, Brandon, you and I have a difference of opinion on this. I like Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. I'm still on board with it. I'm still watching the episodes like within a couple days of them coming out. Whether or not my wife is able to sit down and watch them, like it's still must-see TV for me. I really liked the Inhumans turn. I like the fact that they're starting to get their hands on some of the bigger Marvel characters out there. This past season, they gave us an Absorbing Man that was very nice. They gave us, for example, they gave us Bobby Morse, Mockingbird, which they barely. I realized I was having a conversation with my wife about the fact that they're giving Mockingbird a spin-off, and she was like looking at me like, "Who's Mockingbird?" Like it didn't make sense. Like it occurred to me they don't use her code name like at all in the show. And for that matter, they don't even like use her main ability, which is to blend in and infiltrate organizations, because she did it. They've been fighting Hydra the whole time, and it would be kind of dumb if this whole time Hydra's just not realizing that the same person's infiltrating them over and over again. It'd be kind of like,
she's got a blonde wing this week.
You look familiar, but you have a mustache. You're all right. But I don't know. The problem that I'm having with why I feel this is stupid is they announced they were going to do a spin-off from Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. before the start of this season. And everybody was like looking through the properties, like what they have built in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. And everybody was like, it's got to be, oh my god, why am I saying Deadshot? That's wrong. Deathlock. It's got to be Deathlock. It's going to be a Deathlock TV series, which... if anybody said that to themselves, just isolated of nothing, like they're definitely making a Deathlock TV series. No, that's never reality.
Nobody wants that.
Even when it was the most likely thing to come out of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., like that was the most standalone-ish property that they could remove all the Deathlock appearances and have him go off on his own, and that would actually be interesting TV, except for the fact that it's Deathlock. I mean, it's the 90s in a can, guys. But then word got around that no, they weren't even thinking about Deathlock because they're not dumb. But they are dumb because they were going to make it about Bobby and Lance, who were like the two more interesting additions to the cast. Like they presented chemistry, they presented like this nice fun backstory, and they're just like a spy couple. They're Mr. and Mrs. Smith, but they're maybe on the same team. Like, they did a lot of that. Like, which team are they on? Are they good or are they bad? And more often than not, they're good. And they were fun to watch, but they were one of the better parts to watch out of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Like, they were one of the consistently better written parts. So why do you make something really good inside of your TV series and then just cut it out and let it live on its own?
Well, I'll tell you exactly why. Because that's not what Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. is about anymore. It's not about spy stuff. It's not about the E in S.H.I.E.L.D. It's espionage, right? Yeah. It has at the point that I left it, it had turned into a show about Inhumans and protecting Inhumans and teaching Inhumans and superpowers and all that.
Is that what the Iron Shield is for?
It is now, I'm assuming.
It is now, yeah.
Suck it, humans. Inhumans, espionage.
They have, to some extent, started making it. It's actually like they've become Sword at this point.
Right.
Sword in Marvel Comics is the anti-alien protection. They're the Men in Black of Marvel. Yeah.
Right. Which is not what I want out of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Like, I'm excited, actually, about this spinoff because it's going to get to... Like, what I wanted the show to be was sort of like the A-Team, where they were on their own, they had no backup. Exactly what the show became after the fall of S.H.I.E.L.D., when Hydra took over, was the perfect Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. show to me. Because it was... They were on their own, they had no support, they were just doing their thing, and it was great. Because to me, that's what I wanted out of that show from the very beginning.
Right. Now, Daisy, though, is an example of an actual agent of S.H.I.E.L.D. Like, she's the one, like, they didn't call her that to begin with, but of all, like, she's the only one that they didn't say, we need to make a new character for. She's the actual comic book character. Yes, she's an Inhuman, but here's the thing, like, in her comic appearances, I've always felt that, like, she's an Inhuman, so what? Like, she's just a super-powered spy. That's normally what she's known for.
But is she doing spy stuff, or is she doing, like, superhero stuff? Because it seems like they're just doing superhero stuff now.
No, but in the TV series, they do superhero stuff. Right. In the comics, she's more of a spy stuff person. Yeah.
Right.
It's still very mired in the fact that they keep using Shield in the Captain America movies.
Yeah.
I think that hurts it a little bit. Yeah. So they kind of get Cap's leftovers. It feels like. Okay. Your TV option.
Yes, I am going to talk about the recent Sherlock special, The Abominable Bride. I'm a big fan of the BBC Sherlock series that Mark Gatiss and Stephen Moffat have put together. Have you guys watched it? Do you like it?
With Benedict Cumberbatch.
Sure. And Martin Freeman.
Yep.
Got to the third episode, maybe? The pool scene with Moriarty?
Yeah.
And I decided I was done with it.
Really?
Really?
Yeah.
But, okay, fair enough.
Did you stop mid-episode?
Yeah.
That's weird. Okay,
So
well...
I was like, this is too much like Inside Out. My feelings can't take it. Big Bobby's gonna die.
So anyway, we'll just leave the dumb thing being Joe's response to Sherlock. But I think that overall it's been the perfect update. I've only seen bits and pieces of Elementary, but no. That's my opinion.
I can't watch Elementary because it brings up too many memories of hackers.
Oh yeah.
So you can't watch anything with him.
No.
Which isn't a lot of stuff.
Yeah. It's Elementary.
Nothing with Angelina Jolie. Nothing with Shaggy.
Right.
Oh, Shaggy.
Except for him being Shaggy, apparently, since I can't think of a name.
Fair enough. So anyway, the special, The Abominable Bride, it just came out at the beginning of this our year of the Lord 2016. In what could have been a terrible move, they actually moved the story time frame to Victorian London in a way. Now there is more to it than that, but I'm not going to spoil that because it hasn't been a year for that. It's only been a couple weeks. I only just saw it, I think, 2 days ago. So, like I said, there's more to it. But in taking it back to the times when the Sir Arthur Conan Doyle stories originally took place, the surroundings, the supporting characters, for the most part, and some of the situations came from those stories. It also lifts very heavily from a TV show from the 1980s called The Adventures of Sherlock Holmes, that starred Jeremy Brett, and it does it in a very winky way. Like, it's never stealing so much as like, look what we did, you know. So it has the Gatiss Moffat humor and suspense and weird twists added to it as well. There are a lot of visual bits to Sherlock as a show, such as on-screen text messages, things being typed on computers, things like that get also transferred to Victorian era, where you're seeing things typed onto the screen instead of, like on a typewriter. You're seeing the slow reveal of a telegram, for instance, instead of a text message.
That's great.
It's really cool. Like the way the translation into the Victorian era is very neat. And they introduced some new visual elements that they had not done before on Sherlock, such as at one point a crime scene is being explained to Sherlock and Watson as they're in their drawing room, and then we're seeing it as it's being described, and then someone will say stop, and we'll see that the drawing room is in the middle of the crime scene, which is in a big open lane. Mm-hmm. So it's there with the fireplace and their chairs and everything, but it's it's just a cutaway, and it's sitting there in amongst the scenery. So the visuals and the storytelling are fantastic. It's very decadent. The scenes of 1880s Baker Street are gorgeous. Just old London, smoggy, very moody, very Sherlock. I know that part of the point of the Sherlock series is to keep it updated, but man, seeing them take on the Victorian personas of these characters and the ways in which it does and doesn't relate to the updated series. And again, I'm not trying to give anything away here, but it is actually a transitional episode directly between Season 3 and Season 4.
What are you saying is dumb about this?
What's dumb about it is they handed us this phenomenal hour-and-a-half long piece of gorgeousness and then said, okay, Now, we'll see again in 2017, which is when the next season is premiering. And I understand that these episodes are long. Each season is like a couple movies in terms of quality and complexity. I totally get that. But I would have loved to have seen something appear sooner. I would love to see 2016, this year that we're in right now, get some new Sherlock episodes, because we've been waiting for a while. I don't remember when the last episode was. The last episode for Joe was years ago, but for the rest of us, it was...
Actually, it was about a year ago. I watched it all on Netflix. So.
Joe, I'll make you a deal. I will make you a deal right now. If you finish season 1 of Sherlock, and then also watch season 2, I will finish Inside Out.
No, I don't care if you see Inside Out.
Wow.
Okay. Well then, never mind.
I'm disappointed in both of you right now so much.
No, I mean you'll watch Inside Out and you'll feel how you feel about it, and that's great. But I mean, it wasn't working for me.
And that's okay. I mean, you honestly, you're one of the first people that I've talked to that's watched it and has not enjoyed it.
Honestly, I think if the first episode didn't hook you, you definitely jumped off right before a turn, but if that first episode didn't speak to you, that turn probably would not have been as exciting.
Oh yeah, that was if you don't. The first episode was amazing. I loved the first episode, and then I was so excited about the second episode that like when I sat down to watch it, it was not as good. And then the third episode was even worse. So I was kind of like, this isn't working. And they're long, and I wasn't into it.
They are long.
All right.
See, I had the opposite reaction. I burned through the first season in one sitting.
I have to admit, with Sherlock, this is a case of my parents telling me about it and me kind of blowing them off for like 6 months. Like, yeah, whatever. Right. Apparently, my parents are hipsters. They were right. I was wrong, and I've really enjoyed that series. Although I have to admit, I'm behind. I'm about an episode left of the third season. I still haven't seen. I was thinking about it because I was obsessed about the cliffhanger at the end of episode 2, or the end of season 2 cliffhanger. When that happened, I actually was watching that about 2 hours before I got on a flight to go to London.
Oh wow!
And I went to London, and I actually I played tourist, and I found a bunch of the locations where they shot the scenes and whatnot. Like I went outside where the fake because it's not actually on Baker Street. They're
right.
221B. For that matter, the 221B that's in the 221B Baker Street in London, it didn't even exist when Arthur Conan Doyle was writing the series. Like he actually picked that as a fake address.
Right. It was the 555 of its time.
Yeah, there's now a 221B on Baker Street. Like they purposely built something there, and it's just a terrible tourist trap of a museum that I'd actually ignored. Where are we going with this? Sherlock being off the air until a new president will be elected, and by his mandate, he will tell another country to finish up and make more entertainment for us, or
her,
or her. Fair, yes. Or Marvel offering to make us more entertainment, which could divide and make the entertainment that I like right now worse. Marvel's Most Wanted, or Sherlock 2017.
So it is literally the difference between more or less.
Yeah.
Like you're getting less of one and more of the other.
Yes.
Less Sherlock Holmes or more S.H.I.E.L.D., which is better? Is more better? Is it quantity over quality better?
That is what we're asking. Yes.
I'm breaking it down.
What is dumb? Other than you not watching Sherlock, because I agree with that. That's dumb. I don't care if you don't like it. You should watch it.
Because we said so.
You know, my wife watches it. She's really excited about this new special. I told her I would watch it with her, and I don't know how lost I'll be now.
Actually, there is a really nice recap at the beginning, so you should be fine.
Is it full of spoilers?
The recap?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, so that's the dumb thing. Spoilers. I'm gonna go with. Oh God, I haven't watched S.H.I.E.L.D. in like 2 seasons either. It totally lost me. I'm gonna give quality over quantity. So Shield is dumb.
Shield is dumb. Okay. That brings us to the music portion. For me, I'm actually not necessarily picking a particular song or band. I'm setting my sights on a music festival. I am incredibly annoyed. Coachella came out, and they actually announced it right before our recording session last week. I was really close to making this my dumb last week. Coachella announced that for the 2016 lineup, they're going to have it headlining by LCD Sound System and Guns N' Roses. On its face value, I actually like both these bands. I've listened to both of them a lot. I don't actually own any albums. I think I own like some scattered Guns N' Roses songs in my collection. So I'm not like a huge fan of either, but I appreciate them when they're on the radio. That's my level of fandom there. I'm not mad at them just being the headliner. Like, good on them. What I'm mad about is that a year ago, neither one of them were touring. They're both on reunion tours this year, and that's their big splash. Is like Guns N' Roses doing a reunion tour. They're doing Coachella, and LCD Sound System reunion tour. They've been out of work. I think like they've been disbanded for about 5 years now, and they're coming back, and they're going to do Coachella. The problem I'm having with that is I don't mind reunion tours, but what I mind is like this is a giant music festival. Why are we putting two major bands up that haven't come out with a good album in at least 5 years in both their cases? Yeah, that's right, I said it. I think Velvet Revolver was in the past 5 years, right?
Yeah.
Right? Maybe. It's a terrible album, is what I'm saying. It's just like U2's latest album. That was also terrible. Like, you shouldn't book
There's a couple
U2.
good songs on there. Come on, be nice.
What's that?
There's a couple good songs on there.
What, on Velvet?
No, on the U2 album.
Oh, okay. I was gonna say, is like your New Jersey showing at this point if I make fun of Guns N' Roses too much? Like,
Oh, no. Go ahead.
but no, yeah, like every song that U2 had on that album that showed up on the radio, because I'm an Android user, I didn't get this album forced on me. So every time I heard like a song on the radio, like the radio was hyping it up, and I just kept thinking, why are you not playing Joshua Tree? Like, give me give me Beautiful Day, give me Zootopia, Zooropa. Give me something from that era. Zoo.
Give me Zootopia. Enough of this music. I want to watch a talking animals movie. Give me Zoolander.
Just give me Zoolander, yes. Give me some Zoolander. Like, no, it's just like, don't pat a band on the head just because they finally got broke enough that they want to go get more money in coke and whores, but not actually give us an album. Like, there's some great indie bands that are getting like the little tiny type at Coachella. God damn, am I that music hipster that I'm just like, yes, sure, but you know, maybe they should have headlined Nathaniel Rateliff and the Night Sweats. You know, give me something like that instead. You know,
Yeah,
that's.
But the Night Sweats are going to sell 100 tickets. Guns N' Roses is going to sell.
And that's the thing. It's like, and Coachella is the music hipster festival, and yet people don't like. You see, like if you're a music hipster, you should not be impressed by Guns N' Roses showing up and doing a reunion tour for you. Like, that's not there for me. That's my music.
Well, so the Guns N' Roses thing is important for more than just being a reunion show, because this is the first time that it's the real band back together in a really long time.
It's the first real reunion.
Yeah, because when Chinese Democracy came out, and that was Guns N' Roses, sort of, it was Axl Rose and a bunch of other dudes.
Yeah.
And so that wasn't Guns N' Roses at that point. It just wasn't.
Was I saying Velvet Revolver instead of Chinese Democracy?
You were. I thought that's what you meant, but I wasn't sure.
That's what I meant. Thank you. I'm sorry. I actually like Velvet Revolver. I felt that was very fun moving forward music for them. Chinese Democracy is a steaming pile of turd. Okay.
I wouldn't go that far. I do like some of Chinese Democracy, I will say. Was it worth the amount of time that it took, or the the big split in the band? Of course not. I mean, Guns N' Roses was everywhere when I was a kid, and so hearing, I mean, you can tell when you're listening to a Guns N' Roses song that, you know, obviously if Axl Rose is there, you can tell, but you can also tell Slash is there, because Slash is a very signature style, and if you're listening to Axl Rose without Slash, it feels wrong, you know.
Right.
So that's why this is a big deal, and because this is the first time that they'll have come together since I don't even know the date. I see what you're saying though in terms of the sort of hipster thing.
No, yeah, like if they came out and they were like, "Hey, we're back together. Here's our new album," and then we pull out this album and it rocks, then put them on stage, make them headline at that point. Like, yeah, show us something new, and then you're allowed to headline a major festival. I mean, I'm too easily impressed, is what I feel.
I feel like they've proven themselves as being able to headline a music
Well, they
festival?
could headline their own tour. Let them go do that, because they could just like go out to Vegas and the Hollywood Bowl. Like, show us something new if you want to be at a festival, is what I feel.
I think
like
we need to pull
headline
former
at a festival.
Coachella headliners.
Hmm?
Who formerly headlined Coachella?
Oh, you guys and your meeting research and stuff. Okay, we're way past our 5 minutes on this.
Okay, all right.
This is me saying that because I'm looking it up. All right, Brandon, what do you got? What do you got?
All right, I'm gonna bring the mood down. Ready? I'm gonna talk about Black Star by David Bowie, who, as we know, we lost just a few days ago. I'm not gonna talk about him or his career or the legend or how awesome Labyrinth was and how important that was in my life. How David Bowie was the first rock concert I ever went to. I am gonna talk about the album that came out last Friday on his 69th birthday, which is Black Star, and it is quite an album. I've seen a lot of think pieces where people pose the question, was he foreshadowing his own death? Was he discussing his illness? Of course he was. The references are not subtle throughout the album. In the song Lazarus, which is also the last video that he released, it has the lyrics, "Look up here, I'm in heaven, I've got scars that can't be seen." It's pretty straightforward. I'll probably put an audio clip in here of that. Then the final track on the album is called "I Can't Give Everything Away." So there's no maybe about it. It was him explaining what was happening and saying his farewell.
Yeah.
So the album itself is a blend of styles. It is very heavy with jazz, but there are electric guitars buzzing throughout. The vocals are playful and sometimes wistful and sometimes powerful. And there are several Bowies represented throughout the whole album. Overall, it reminds me of the soundtrack to Lost Highway, which was produced by Trent Reznor, the Lost Highway, the David Lynch film. And that had a score by Angelo Badalamenti, who's better known for the music from Twin Peaks, which was very similar to this album because it was a lot of, blurting saxophones, a lot of horns, and just jazz that's sort of out of control in a way that didn't always go along with the melody. It was a little discordant at times, and it's very similar to that. And there is a David Bowie track on the Lost Highway soundtrack. It's a remix of "I'm Deranged" that has that same kind of jazz backdrop to it, with just kind of the kind of stuff in the background. That comes to mind. That I love that soundtrack to Lost Highway, and that's why I was immediately able to pick up on it, because it's got Nine Inch Nails, David Bowie, Smashing Pumpkins, a couple tracks by each, and then it's got that kind of saxophone and brass line running throughout. And that's what it reminded me of, and it was a good memory. But there's a lot more to it than that, because he revisits a lot of things from his past musical styles all throughout it. It's an album I've listened to several times over the last couple days, and I honestly don't think it's just because he passed away, but because it's a very addictive album. It's an album that I like to listen to. I like to have it on in the background. Sometimes I'll pay attention to it. Sometimes it's just good music to have on. and I will continue, I'm sure, to look at it, listen to it over and over again, because it's good music. It's good. It's what you expect from David Bowie. This is an album that I can listen to repeatedly, and at least in the short term, not get tired of. And I think it's going to stand amongst his collection as one of the stronger ones. It's enjoyable, and the worst part about it is that it leaves me really hungry for a follow-up. And so I probably don't have to say this, but the dumb thing here is that we won't get one. That this is the last album that we're going to get from David Bowie. But man, it is a good one.
With his passing, one of the first things that I realized when I found out that it was cancer and he'd been diagnosed with it with 18 months, that he's been dealing with it for 18 months, and his first reaction to that felt to be, or it feels that way at least, is like, let's go think about it, write some poetry, make some music about it, you know. I don't know if we realize how lucky as a society we are to have that. I haven't listened to this album yet, but it's high on my list of to-dos. How often, more often than not, with musicians, with across-the-board musicians, they tend to die well before anybody expects them to. It's something, you know, there's always tragedy there. He made it to 69, which I'm sure, like, the nympho in him is very happy about. Like, you know, he's kind of giggling a little bit about that one.
Sure.
But at the same time, like, that we had a superb artist actually get to think and meditate on death and figure out what it means to him and then make art because of it. How often do we get to see that? Like, there's some theories out there that Shakespeare knew that he was getting old, and he knew that King Lear, Tempest was going to be his last play, and so there's that element of he's saying goodbye through the play. Like, and to have that with Bowie, like, that was always one of the more tremendous things, and yeah. And then, did you guys ever hear the line about with David Bowie? We have to remember that we have all this David Bowie music to inspire us, and not even David Bowie had the ability to listen to David Bowie to be inspired by it.
Right, so we're one up on David Bowie.
Yeah, so we're one up on David Bowie, and immediately I'm thinking in my head, like, you know, yeah, but while he was alive, not even David Bowie had the ability to sleep with David Bowie, but the rest of us were totally willing to do that. Like, I feel like that was, yeah, that makes sense. No, I'm working on that. That might, yeah. You ever, as a comedian, I have this instinct to try and write a joke when I think about something, and I'm really not letting myself say any Bowie jokes on stage.
Yeah.
So
I'm curious, are there a lot of people doing Bowie jokes?
I am terrified to find out. So far, I've been to some very well-behaved open mics. I do know one comedian who we might actually have on the show later. He's a really good guy. He makes a note. He has a joke about where rockers, people only go to see the Rolling Stones because they want to see the Rolling Stones' last show. They want to see the last Keith Richards show. No one's going there for rock and roll anymore. They're there so they have a ticket stub souvenir thing. And it's about Keith Richards and the fact that, he drinks a fifth of vodka and a 2-liter of orange soda, and never mind the vodka, like the orange soda, that should be killing him.
Right.
Like, that's your daily diet. The soda should be just absolutely killing you. He does make note of the fact, because he actually wrote that in response to Lemmy dying.
Right.
And then now he's added the note about, like, we lost Bowie now too. I don't know. There's going to be someone making a terrible David Bowie joke in the next week, and I'm going to have to sit through it. So
I have seen comedians posting what are actually very tasteful jokes online.
Well, remember, I'm still like a beginner comedian, so I'm going to LA open mics on like a daily basis.
True,
so
true.
I will see somebody, like I will see it. It will be probably the same guy that's like a white guy that thinks it's cool to make anti-Semitic and racist jokes. Yeah, he's, and then like I just identified like 20 different people in the LA
Right.
scene, and that's my life. Good Judge Joe. As we just ran some emotions there. What is dumb? David Bowie dying, or Guns N' Roses and LCD Sound System not staying dead?
That is so interesting.
No, it's David Bowie's last album, or Guns N' Roses headlining Coachella, right?
Yes, yes.
Because David Bowie dying is pretty dumb.
It's dumb that that he. Well, I think that's actually what Brandon is saying. That's the dumb thing. Is that
Right. Well, that it's both. That as a result of him dying, this is his final album. Yes.
Oh, okay. That is pretty dumb. Let's do that.
Ladies and gentlemen, Joe Dunn thinks David Bowie is dumb.
Oh my God.
No, that's,
Get out of here.
That's not at all what was said. No, sorry, Joe. Sorry. Joe is such a nice guy too. Like I would. No, I can't.
Except when it comes to Bowie, I'm gonna draw the line.
Except for Sherlock, you got to work on that. Gaming, I'm gonna make mine super short. I'm not even gonna turn on the time. For gaming, I'm done with this lotto. For those that are watching later, this is the one that's gotten up to 1.4, 1.5 billion. It's gotten to the point that their models can't correctly predict what the final payout is going to be.
I'm announcing it right now too. It's 11 o'clock right now.
Oh, it's 11 o'clock. It's drawing right now as we talk. I don't know. I think I even have a ticket. I'm honestly not sure if I got a ticket for this one or not. I think I'm in an office pool, but I don't care. Like, to me, it's like the dumbest thing was on Fox News. They had a guy who had won lottos before. He comes out and gives the advice of buy as many tickets as you can afford, and someone's going to believe him, and that's dumb. I'm okay with just buy a ticket. Imagine what you would do with $1 billion, but at this point, I'm done with it. It's officially dumb.
I've started to imagine how much it would ruin my life, like bodyguards and kidnap fears and politicians hounding you. I don't need that.
And it would be immediate too. Like it would be you as soon as you almost expect like you're matching your ticket against the TV. And you see that all the numbers are correct, and then people just start crashing in the windows with
like
machete.
a zombie movie.
Like, right.
Can I have $1 or 1,000? No, if I won, I also would be one of those people that would never tell anybody. Like I would be.
Well, it depends where you are, because here in Virginia, for instance, you have to.
Yeah.
There are only, I think, 6 states where you can collect anonymously.
Can you then collect through a different state?
Only if you bought it through that state.
Oh, okay.
You would seriously, like, I've thought about it. Like, I would leave the country. Like, you'd have to.
Yeah. At least while things die down.
Yeah. Or, like, if you won with, like, 30 other people, like, there would be some anonymity, and you'd still have a ton of money, because even split between 30 people, it's still a ton of money. It's more money than more.
Oh, yeah.
Now, I do want to point out that when you're buying into an office pool, you're no longer buying to win. At that point, you're buying to make sure that you're the only person at the office. Like that you're not the only person at the office that didn't.
That one asshole in the corner. Yeah. Oh my God.
You want to make sure that you're not the guy that gets screwed at that point. That's insurance. At that
You're
point.
the only person in the office the next day.
That's
like,
the
wait
point.
a minute.
The dealer is showing an ace. You're playing blackjack, and he asks you, "Do you want to buy insurance?" At that point, you're like, "Yeah, here's my $2. Don't you dare win without." Yeah. Okay. Brandon, I cede my time to you. Tell me, what is dumb?
So I'm going to talk fairly briefly, because I haven't played it that much, but I want to talk about Disney Infinity, which my son actually saved up Christmas money, etc., to purchase for all of us, basically, meaning him and me. He got the I don't know, some kind of pack that came with Ahsoka and Anakin.
Okay, you got the prequel pack, yeah.
Sure. And it has like a Clone Wars mission, and then he also separately ordered Darth Vader. So we haven't played anything outside of the Star Wars characters, although within Disney Infinity, you play everywhere anyway. And for those who don't know, Disney Infinity is everything from Disney, Marvel, and Lucasfilm, or not Lucasfilm, but Star. Oh wait, didn't they do Indiana Jones? Yeah. So Lucasfilm, it's all jammed together into one game, and you play in these different toy boxes, and they give you challenges, and you can play with other people's pre-built levels. You can build your own. You can use in-game money to buy new toys. I just purchased in-game the Millennium Falcon, so being Darth Vader flying around the Millennium Falcon felt a little weird. I'm not gonna lie, but you get used to it pretty quickly because it's super fun, and it lets the imagination run when you're flying the Millennium Falcon as Darth Vader around Cinderella's castle, and then looping down into Halloween Town from Nightmare Before Christmas, and then zipping around over to Tatooine. And I love the way it all blends together. And in this house, we've played the action figure video game things before because he was a big fan of the Skylanders series.
Okay.
And so we have a million Skylanders. But that's sort of his interest in those games is sort of faded, which is great because we have a million Skylanders. But it transferred over to the Amiibos on the Wii U. Where he's got maybe 15 of those, which also allow you to mix things within games to a point. He's really into Super Smash Brothers, and so being able to do whatever it is he does with the Amiibos in that game brings him a lot of pleasure. I don't know. It's not my favorite game. But anyway, Disney Infinity 3.0, it's a lot of fun. However, and this is recognizing that it's a huge number of worlds, etc., the load times are insane. I feel like I'm playing a first-generation PlayStation game.
What system are you playing on?
On the Wii U, which I understand is not the most powerful, but I have never, honest to God, I haven't played a game since the older PlayStations that has had load times this bad.
I think it's because you're dealing with a game that they tried to stretch across a lot of platforms. I'm currently playing it on the PS3. The load times are not noticeably bad. I am probably going to wait till 4.0 comes out to bump it up to the PS4.
I've played on the PS3. I've got the new PS4 version, but I haven't compared them. But on the PS3, I had a lot of problems with the load times.
Really?
And the real issue with that is that this is a game where you're often going into other worlds that other players have created, and it's a crapshoot. Like, it could be awesome, or it could be a complete waste of time. And you're sitting there with a 4 or 5-year-old next to me, waiting for this, waiting minutes for it to load up, and then it's terrible. And you're just like, all right, let's try another one. And you're both getting frustrated and hate each other.
Are you guys both playing? Are you also playing other people's toy boxes when you're doing that?
I have not. I have not yet.
Okay, because for me, I'm mostly playing their set play sets.
Yeah, that's all I've been doing. So, I'll go in and do the sidekick levels, or go to my own toy box or whatever. And what happens is it takes forever to load, and then it takes forever for the characters to load. So you wind up in whatever world you're going for, and then you have to sit there for another minute or two, maybe not two. I could be exaggerating, while the little glowy thing sits on the screen as your character loads.
Yeah. I don't know. I guess I could report back to you when I finally get it on the PS4. But yeah, it's definitely. It feels like they're being too inclusive with that game. I like the fact that all the statues that I've bought for the PS3, that when we do get it for the PS4, I don't have to rebuy those.
The best thing
it's
about
the same.
Yeah.
And I mean, and that's the other thing that I like is that your 100 Skylander statues, I'm sure they look great, but my 100 Infinity statues are a bunch of Disney and Star Wars and Marvel characters, and they all look pretty cool just sitting on a shelf if they have to be. Like, I like little statues, so that excites me.
Well, that's something else I'd like to add, actually. The character design, where they have gone in and they've created a very consistent style across a lot of different genres and storytelling types, is really cool. Like, you see the Hulk figure, and you can tell that it's from the same game as Mulan, who you can also tell is in the same game as Darth Maul.
The only time it kicks out really badly is Phineas, from Phineas and Ferb. They didn't even try making Ferb. They just gave up on that one. They're like, it's already messed up. Like, we should not have given him a third dimension.
Right.
It just doesn't work. Yeah.
So anyway, the load times. That's my. My dumb thing.
The Powerball load of cash or the Disney Infinity 3.0 load times. What is dumb?
Well, let me check my numbers first to see how I did. The Disney Infinity load times. They've been a problem, and for me, and it's a big part of like why like when my son's like, "Hey, can we do this?" and sometimes I'm like, "Oh, I don't want to do it," because it's kind of a pain in the ass sometimes.
Just too much loading.
Too much loading.
All right, that brings us to our final topics. This is the etc. the grab bag. Brandon, I'm gonna make you go first because this is the second time I saw it, but I didn't figure out what it was. What is dumb?
Okay, so I'm going to talk about Peach. It's a new social platform I can use to pretend I have friends who live near me. It's at its core, Peach as a social platform is like a group text message between you and your friends, which, from what I can tell, is mostly people in your address book. So, of course, I installed it today, and I was able to try and connect with a vast crowd of 4 people. I know it's still new, so obviously a lot of people aren't going to be in there in the beginning, but without people jumping on board fast, there's very little point to it. I was looking through it, and it's got features that allow you to boop your friend's nose, or you can put a ring on somebody, or you can 100 your wife. And all I could think was that if it was possible to turn like the possible cliches about millennials into code and stick it into people's phones, it would be Peach. It's a narcissism machine like any other social network, and it has a bunch of frivolous, unnecessary actions built into it, and its place in the health of society is questionable, much like how most people see millennials. One of the
quick question: was this a trending topic on Twitter as just the Peach emoji?
I don't know. I don't even remember how I heard about it. I saw a couple articles. I don't know. I don't know. I don't actually.
I saw that trend and I didn't bother to click because it was like an emoji was trending.
Gotcha.
Like,
that must be
I
it.
have no time for this.
Yeah,
but it was the
I don't.
Peach.
I don't actually look at Twitter trending topics that often because they make me sad. But so one of the standout features, and this is the thing that sets it apart from some of the other social platforms and will absolutely be showing up in Twitter later this year, I'm sure, is you can use magic words so that you can just type in GIF and it'll pull up a GIF library, or you can type here and it'll post your location. There are a whole bunch of other magic words. I don't know what else there is. So it's basically built-in laziness. So there you go.
Google Chat does the here thing already.
Does it really?
Yeah. Like if somebody's like sends you a question like "Where are you?" it'll just bring up like do you want to send this person your GPS location, and you can just send them a quick map that pins where you are. It does sound like it's basically like stuff that other apps have secretly been doing already, and
the most popular feature on that app is the uninstall button.
Like, on Google or on Peach? Are you talking trash about Google?
No, I was talking about Peach. I was talking about Peach.
Google, we love you. Thank you for freely hosting our Hangouts as we record these episodes. Thank you.
So anyway, I don't know how long it's going to last. I don't know how much patience people have for jumping around from Facebook and Twitter and Google Plus, Snapchat and LO and Instagram. Everything that pops up.
It feels like they're betting on like Twitter fatigue or some sort of Facebook screw up to happen. Like,
right.
I think that's why those apps come out, like just in case.
And I think that what's going to happen is Facebook and Twitter are going to see the things about this app that people like, and they're going to integrate it and then send Peach off on a nice flow before it's time.
Yeah.
I don't see it sustaining in this particular market.
Well, the other option is that Facebook or Google just buys it.
Right, which they may well do, but they also don't need to, because I don't think there's anything about Peach and its proprietary structure that is a standalone, because it's essentially group text, more or less, or group chat, which Twitter essentially has now with their multi-user direct messaging, and Facebook has had for ages.
And Google has, as we're using
And
it
Google
right
has.
now. Yeah. So, will peach wither on the vine?
Oh, yes, the
sorry.
peach vine. You love a peach vine.
Peach vine, yes, because it is like an olive, right? That's what a peach is.
Exactly.
Yeah. Are we good with peach? You have 50 seconds still on the clock if you want to really dig into peach.
Why is it called peach? What's the deal with... Actually, that's a good point, because this is one of the first social networking things to have a completely nonsensical name. Because even Snapchat makes sense. Instagram's a little iffy, but everything else, Twitter is Twittering. Kick, I always forget about Kick.
Yeah, Twitter is just kind of like... Yeah. Oh, I can go all the way back to like ICQ, although that one does make sense. It's like they put the creepy into a sounds like type thing. ICQ.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, gross.
Yeah. All right. So my dumb thing for the week is El Chapo. El Chapo, if you're listening to this, that means you have escaped again, and I clearly don't think you're dumb. Please don't chop my head off. That being said, if he's not listening to this, let's be honest. Okay, so he escaped, 6 months ago? He was on the lam. He then decided that he wanted to get a movie made about himself. So he invited Sean Penn over to have a nice sit-down chat. Sean Penn farted in front of him. Why do we know this? Because Sean Penn wrote a Rolling Stone article about the situation and decided to actually make his fart part of the story. Apparently El Chapo is very good at ignoring smelt it, dealt it laws. And more or less, Sean Penn decided he was a good guy. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, he kills every now and then. What I'm understanding is that Sean Penn really needed some cocaine. That's what I was reading out of that. Like, he needed like a Billy Mays level of cocaine. That was what was going on there. And
you can't mention Billy Mays as often as you mention Deadpool. Didn't he come up last week too?
Yes, he did.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah.
I'm okay with that, actually.
All right.
I'm allowed to bring up Billy Mays. Is that all right?
Yeah.
All right. Cool. But yeah, the peak dumb in this story happened when the Mexican authorities, they capture El Chapo, they take him, and they put him right back in the same prison that he dug a hole out of. Like, he Shawshank Redemption to this prison already, and they're like, yeah, let's put him back there. But I should know, well, he didn't technically Shawshank Redemption him, because that took way less time, and I'm pretty sure Morgan Freeman is not in that prison. So, yeah.
I haven't seen him in a while.
They didn't.
Oh, no, he was at the Globes. Never mind.
Yeah, they pretty much did the exact same logic as the Gotham City Police Department at that point. They're like, let's just put him back in there. What's the worst that'll happen? He's El Chapo. Lots of terrible, horrible things will happen.
Right.
It's just so dumb that yeah. So, what is dumb, Peach or El Chapo?
As dumb as El Chapo is, Peach is pretty stupid. I'm going Peach.
I'm not gonna lie. I'm kind of agreeing with you there. Like, what is worse, a mass murderer or another social media app? Social media app.
It's a mass murderer or all the mass murderers that Peach will create. Which one is worse?
Oh gosh! All right. That brings us to our roundup really quickly, so that you guys with short attention spans can remember the Deadpool marketing is dumb. ABC ordering a pilot for Marvel's Most Wanted is dumb. David Bowie dying is dumb. Disney Infinity 3.0 taking forever to load is dumb. And Peach is really, really, really dumb. That brings us to the shameless plug portion of the episode. Brandon J. Carr, would you like to shamelessly plug something first?
Sure. I am. No, I got nothing. You can find me on Twitter, Brandon J. Carr. Everything else you can probably link to from there. I have no projects other than, of course, this. So check me out on 5 Dumb Things this Friday. No. Check me out on Five Dumb Things with Darren Gendron, my second banana. And that's how I tell people about it, that you're my sidekick. And but that's it. Brandon J. Carr, Twitter.
Five Dumb Things, you could find us now on iTunes. You can find us. We have
Stitcher.
a Facebook page. And Stitcher?
Yep.
Alrighty. Mr. Joe Dunn, what is your shameless plug?
Go to digitalpimponline.com, and you can see everything I do there.
Absolutely, including the aforementioned Mad Max. I know you've been talking a little bit about this behind the scenes. Are you able to say, like, how are you merchandising that?
I'd say by February, we'll have posters and stickers.
Okay.
We're talking about individual stickers for each Max, maybe, or just a few of
Nice.
them.
Okay.
And then magnet boards for San Diego Comic-Con, probably.
Magnet boards for San Diego. All right. I do look forward to seeing you in San Diego this year. It's always a treat. My shameless plug. Shoot. What do I have coming up? I've got. Yeah, I completely forgot to come up with a plug. I bought time. I had you guys go first, and I forgot to plug something. I will say that January 26th at Flappers Comedy Club in Burbank, California, I will be hosting a show called Nerd Cred with Darren J. Gendron. I found some of the nerdiest comics in the LA area. This is my birthday show, so we're going to come out. We're going to have a lot of fun. We're going to tell some jokes about He-Man and Harry Potter and Star Wars, and it'll be a good, fun show.
Can you give us a sneak preview of anyone who might be there?
Sneak preview, I believe the biggest name that we're going to have is going to be our headliner, of course. That'll be Joseph Scrimshaw will be headlining that show.
Oh, right on.
Yes. Famous of Twitter usage, and also he hosts a show called Pundemonium, which I have every single time that I have competed in Pundemonium, this is true, I have finished dead last.
Oh.
Really? That
Yes.
surprises me.
I am very bitter about this, actually. But one thing I'm not bitter about is Five Dumb Things. We've had a lovely show. Check us out next week. We will be doing our Star Wars special, where we finally lift the spoiler limit on Episode 7, and we talk about 5 dumb things about Star Wars. With a special... We have a Star Wars expert lined up. We're just not sure which one it is yet. So it'll be someone special. Check that out. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe. Email us at 5dumbthings@gmail.com if you know something dumb that we have to see. And for Brandon J. Carr, I'm Darren J. Gendron. Stay dumb.